This video takes you along for an orientation flight in the Tucano and short Tucano aircraft from Maxwell Air Force Base, Alabama. The A-27 is a single-engine aircraft used by the United States Air Force for pilot training and light attack missions. The side-by-side or a tandem seating arrangement makes it ideal for flight training where an instructor can sit in the front seat and guide a student or cadet in the rear during flight operation. The short Tucano is the British version of the Tucano, designed specifically for pilot training. The first short Tucano flight was on the 24th of June, 1986. It is used by the Royal Air Force and other foreign air forces for basic flying instruction. They are reviewing something written on the paper with their instructor. Then they move away and allow the aircraft to do a full power run-up. Here's the view from the ground as the two planes take off. From the high angle, we can see the runway and the taxi. The altimeter shows that the aircraft is at 3,500 feet. The planes bank, and we see the ground below. We hear the instructor explaining the three axes of motion. He says, "This is pitch, this is yaw, and this is roll." As he mentions pitch, we see the nose of the plane moving up and down. The first plane is taken off, and soon enough it is airborne. We see the RPM dropping and the landing gear lever being Subscribe to our channel for more great aviation videos. Also, don't forget to check out our site for more free pictures and videos. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. We see the first plane from the ground as it exits the runway. The second plane follows. Now we are back in the second plane. The instructor talks to the cadet and congratulates him. He says, "Good job." Then he adds, "You were doing pretty good out there." The instructor then exits the plane and the cadet follows. The two of them walk away from the plane while smiling. The second plane follows. Now we watch the first plane lining up with the runway for landing. It loses altitude and the landing gear touches down gently. The second plane approaches the runway. It lines up and lands smoothly. Now we see both planes taxiing back to the parking area. For yaw, we see the tail moving left and right. And for roll, we see the wings moving around their axis. The instructor talks about banking and demonstrates it by putting the plane into a 45-degree angle. Then it recovers and returns to straight and level flight. The instructor then talks about banking again, but this time to the right. The first plane calls out, climbing 3. So the other plane acknowledges and says 3,000. The second plane is now the lead aircraft. The instructor asks the cadet to follow his plane. The planes maintain a separation of about 1 to 2 miles as they fly towards the target area. The lead plane calls out Speedbird 223, which likely means that the airspeed is 223 knots. The lead plane makes a 180-degree turn and then points its nose towards the runway for the approach and landing. The second plane follows. The instructor lets the cadet know that they are on the final leg of the flight. He tells him that the runway is coming up on the right. It calls out, "Turning left 360 degrees." The first plane responds, "Roger that, 360 degrees." Now we see both planes executing a loop. The gear and flaps levers are shown in the cockpit as the pilot prepares the aircraft for landing. The landing gear extends and the flaps are set to 15 degrees. We see the underside of the first plane as it makes the final approach. The second plane is right behind it. The first plane flares and touches down smoothly. The second plane follows closely behind. This will make the backseat cadets feel like they're going for a roller coaster ride. But this is just basic flight training. Nothing too crazy is going on yet. And here's the shot looking down the runway as the two planes leave the base. The last shot before they disappear into the distance is from the backseat of the second aircraft. The propellers rev and the engine scream. We see the second airplane doing the same thing. The two aircraft fly in close formation. We see the formation from the back of the second aircraft. Notice how the wingtips of both aircraft are visible. As the lead aircraft makes a turn, the second one follows. Then the roles are reversed and the second plane becomes the lead aircraft. We hear the pilots talking to each other over the radio as they maneuver. The first one calls out, turning right 360 degrees, to which the second one answers, Roger that, 360 degrees. Now the first plane calls out on course. Then the second plane repeats what it hears. This way, both planes maintain visual contact with each other. Now the A-27s are getting ready to take off. They line up on the runway and start the takeoff roll. The first plane accelerates smoothly. The second airplane follows. Soon enough, the first plane is airborne, and the second one follows right after. Both aircraft turn left and leave the base. If you would like to have access to the full resolution pictures without watermark, check out our support page. Notice how the altimeter reads 0 feet and the vertical speed indicator shows a rate of climb of about 1,200 feet per minute. The heading indicator shows that the aircraft is headed 270 degrees. We hear the pilots talk to each other over the radio. As they gain altitude, we see the cabin and the controls. The RPM gauge shows that the engine is spooled up to 2,000 RPM. The landing gear and flap indicators show that they are in the up and retracted positions. The altimeter shows that the aircraft has reached 2,000 feet. Then the first plane calls out level at 2. That means level off at 2,000 feet. The second plane acknowledges. It also shows the view from the back seat of the second aircraft. We can see one of the A-27s ready for action, with its engine still running, and then cut to the second aircraft getting ready. We see a group of cadets walking towards their aircraft. One of them needs some help from the ground crew to reach his airplane. Then we switch to another angle as a cadet prepares his helmet. He puts it on. He does a final check of the documents in his hand and walks toward the waiting aircraft. Once he reaches the plane, he opens the canopy, gets in and buckles up. Then we see another cadet doing the same routine, but from a different angle. He walks toward his airplane and climbs into the cockpit. We hear him talking to the ground crew saying, "Thank you!" Then he says over the radio, "Cold and dark." He probably just powered on the battery. Next, he runs through the pre-flight checklists with the tower. And if you'd like to have all the videos we produce, ad-free and in full resolution, check out our support page. Let's begin. The short Tucano's cockpit has enhanced instrumentation compared to the basic Tucano, making it more suitable for training purposes. The trainer variant features dual controls for both the front and rear seats, allowing for tandem training with an instructor in the front left seat and a student in the right seat. This setup enables a short Tucano to be used for Aviation pilot training. On your right is the list of all the shots featured in this video. We start off with the two aircraft parked on the tarmac at Maxwell Air Force Base. Now we go outside again and see the group of cadets gathered around their airplanes. As the planes ascend, we see the instruments in the cockpit. Now we get to see the second plane taking off. Now we cut to a different mission, flown in similar weather conditions. Now we see the aircraft climbing. We see the cloud formations from above the clouds. The scene looks like something out of a movie as the planes slice through the clouds and into the blue sky above. Now we see the second plane becoming the lead aircraft. Now we see the first plane lined up with the runway. Now we are at the ground level watching the planes take off and land. We go back to the cockpit view as the first plane taxis back. If you liked this video, click on the like button and comment below.